Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Out here, there's no one way of doing things. No unwritten rules. And no shortage of adventure. Because out here, the only requirement is having fun. Bank of America invites kids 6 to 18 to golf with us. For a limited time, sign them up for a free one-year membership, giving them access to discounted tee times at thousands of courses. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/golf with us. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Restrictions apply. See BofA.com/golf with us for complete details. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation.
Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast. Wherever you are in the world today, I have the fantastic, amazing Pattie Dale Tye. She's calling to us from Alabama today, and she is the author of Ordinary to Extraordinary, Achieving Remarkable Career Success Through Passion, Purpose, Preparation. We're going to talk about her book, where you can find it. We're going to get an overview, and really excited to delve into Pattie's work. Welcome, Pattie.
Thank you, Christopher. I'm delighted to have you ask me some questions. I looked up your other interviewees, and you've had quite the great group. So I hope I live up to your expectations and your followers.
Oh, yeah. And anybody who's on the show is doing amazing things. Talk about your journey and how it inspired you to write your Ordinary to Extraordinary book.
Sure. It's really all in that title, Christopher. I started out, I'm a small town girl from North Florida, did not go to Ivy League schools, did not have my parents twist any magic buttons to get me into a special school, did not even get my MBA. And I say that to you, and you've got so many letters beside your name. I'm humbled. But I ended up with an extraordinary career, and all the way to the tippy top, almost, of Humana. And ran some amazing projects for Humana, led some amazing teams for Humana. And Forbes actually contacted me to see if I would be interested in publishing a book with them, because they felt it would land in the right audience right now, because so many people through social media think they are not capable of extraordinary. And there's a whole theory out there about the Z's that they just don't want to work at all. I saw an article just last week, a headline that they want to work 8 months of the year and then go to Europe for 4 and then come back and do it again. And so I think softening the reputation of work being a terrible thing to do is what I'm having a good time doing, and telling them that it's a 90,000-hour journey. And unless you are independently wealthy, you're going to need to get on that road. Right?
There's faster ways. Obviously, inheriting a fortune is nice, but there's like because you talk about this kind of so this concept of work is, I've always been fascinated with, and it's like, why do we have a kind of like industrial age mentality in an informational age? That's what I was talking about. There's faster ways to get to where you want to be. And how do you help clients do that?
Absolutely. And right now we're doing it with AI. And so I'm a chief operating officer for a law firm also in my spare time. And we are using AI to help us cut through all the mundane administrative work. But there's always going to be a need for the human brain, but the need is going to be for a bigger brain. But you're right. Maybe we get to that place. Who wrote the book 4-Hour Workweek some years ago? I wish I could remember his name, but that's exactly what he was after, is why are we not using technology to our leverage point and not being tapped into the 40-hour week? But that 90,000 hours assumes 40 or 50 hours a week. So you got me there.
Yeah. In that book by Tim Ferriss, I read that in 2006 or so, and that really transformed my view of time. And time is a new currency, and time is, versus before I read that, it was like you're just on this like hamster wheel, trading your time for a paycheck. And in order to get ahead, you had to make more, but the more you made, the more taxes you paid. And it was just this endless cycle. But so
That's so interesting. I haven't thought about him in so long. I'm glad you brought. I loved his book, The 4 Hour Body, because that meant you didn't have to work out so darn hard all the time.
yeah, and it's amazing. So talk about one thing what is the number one thing or combination of things that is preventing ordinary people from extraordinary lives? Is it just like the times we're living in? Is it mindset? Is it the government? What is holding people back?
What a great question. And I start off when I'm doing speaking, I start off always with people telling people they need to know what their true aptitudes are. And you are born with your aptitudes, and from those you grow skills. And if you are in a work situation where you're not using your aptitudes, you're forcing yourself to do a skill that doesn't come naturally from inside, I think it's going to hold you back, Christopher. Versus if you use your natural aptitudes, you have to figure out what they are, and there are myriad of ways to do that. But if you let those skills come forward, you're going to be so much more comfortable at work, and I think you're going to get farther and farther ahead. So I think it's that for one thing. I think also right now, this time we're in where half the world is back in the office and half the world is not, is a difficult one. And we've got Gen Zers who are native technologists. They grew up with it. And many of them feel it's fine to be at home. But it's interesting, they are scoring in Gallup surveys as some of the loneliest of our generations. And I think it's partly because they have been distant. They came into the workplace in a really weird time. And I hope they will get back and get in community. I think we are a connectional society. So those are the two big ones for me. I think you need to know your aptitudes and show up prepared. And then I do believe work needs to be sometimes in the work site. You model what, and hopefully there are strong leaders there that are going to model up good behavior, work behavior for you. What do you think's holding them back?
I think I was talking to a guest the other day, and basically after 2020, the whole paradigm of just the way we were brought up and the way we view the world it's basically a free for. And now you throw in artificial intelligence on top of that, and people are like, what's the point of doing? We're just going to get obsolete, and people don't know where to turn to. And what's interesting is it's almost like if you look at these old school mantras, basically, go to school, listen to the teacher, sit in your chair, don't cause trouble, go to et cetera, climb these things don't work anymore. And it's educational institutions, governments can't keep up. And it's almost like if you listen to that, you're actually setting yourself up for failure. So what is going on there, and how does your book address that problem?
I think that head on, we have to acknowledge that we are, just as your guest did, we are working in a different set of paradigms right now. The old way that I was raised by the leaders that were command and control and do it because I said to do it, and I think that's what you're describing, that doesn't hunt any longer, certainly with not the younger generations. But I'll tell you, even the baby boomers are saying, I need purpose in my work. We all looked at the COVID pandemic with some fear, shock, and awe. And so I, first of all, tell employers, tell leaders, make sure that there is purpose, visible purpose to the work you are asking people to do, and let them see you with that purpose-driven mindset. I think that makes a world of difference. I was really fortunate to work for Humana for a number of years, and they truly are purpose-filled, and they are authentic in the desire to help this healthcare, whirling dervish, to be the nicest term for it. But I learned how to be purpose-driven working for them, but now it's on steroids, especially the young ones. Don't ask me to do something that I can't see the link of my work to the company purpose, and B, I can't see purpose as it would manifest itself in helping mankind and society. They're very much looking for that, testing you for that.
Huh. Yeah. It's fascinating. And I was at my dentist's office the other day and she's looking for help and she's like, what's wrong with the younger generation? They like she has open positions and nobody wants to do the work. And she's like frustrated. She's like, yeah, I have positions but they just don't want to work. But
Yeah. And I don't go too many days, Christopher, that isn't said. There's a lot of frustration. Yet I got the opportunity, the privilege last week of having dinner with 5 Gen Zers or baby millennials who work for a company, Nextera, and they are the unregulated side of Florida Power and Light, very large firm, 15,000 employees, I think. And they were go-getters and they wanted to be in the office and they wanted to learn how to lead. And they will. So, but to the person, I truly believe they had gotten themselves into a place where they were firing on all cylinders called aptitudes. And they were also in a very tight circle of work colleagues. And that's an important part too. And that's been lost when I don't go into work ever. It's interesting. They are out there, is my message. They are out there, and we should not paint this wide brush, negative brush over that entire generation. We can't. We need them desperately. The baby boomers are finally peeling their hands off the ring and walking away. And who's going to fill that void? So we need them. We need them.
yeah. And so also the next thing is talking about this concept of career success and passion, purpose, preparation. And again, I'm a Gen X millennial, and we're brought up like if you didn't have a linear career path or trajectory, you're a failure or something. And whereas now younger generations, they hip hop, they jump from career to career, they take a year off, they'll go live in a different country, they'll do different skills. Some of them even are billionaires. They started their own companies. And so talk about this 9 to 5 working for the weekend mentality is more harmful than realized, and how your book addresses that.
Sure. First of all, I was like a silver pinball that got dropped. I didn't have a linear. When I look back on it now, I can see the cord all the way through it. But at the time, I had 7 industries in my background. But the 9 to 5 mentality, again, speaks to me of somebody that's just in there surviving. And you cannot, unless you are one of those billionaires you talk about or young millionaire, you're going to need to work. So why would you put yourself in a position of something that was just mundane, boring? Here's a paradigm shift that a lot of folks in work don't realize, and especially the young ones like you. I'm sure you realize it though. But all your schooling, especially at the higher levels, you are paying somebody so that you can learn. The minute you go into career, for the rest of your career, you are paid to learn. And if you aren't learning constantly, you're wasting your headspace, you're wasting your life, you're wasting your time, and you're probably in the wrong job. If you're in that mundane, I cannot wait until 5 o'clock so I can get free, you're in the wrong position, my dear, and move out. But isn't that an interesting, suddenly we're paid the rest of our lives to learn. I love that.
Yeah.
And you're an inquisitive person. You wouldn't have an MD, PhD if you weren't curious and inquisitive and always wanting to know what's around the next corner. That's probably why you do these and have these wonderful guests.
Yeah. And I get to talk to fantastic individuals such as yourself. And there was a great quote. It was like, if you're not improving by 10% a year, you're getting behind. Just like 10% just to keep up.
Relevant. Yeah.
What do you go ahead?
Can I say one thing about that? Because we definitely are from different generations. I love the 10%. I wrote that down. I don't know how I'll baseline that, but one of the things that has society a little bit scared, maybe not at your age, but at other ages, is this whole Alzheimer's tsunami, the great thing that's going to take the baby boomers out. My father died of Alzheimer's. And I have one of the APO4 genes. And I love this because you're a physician. You get this. So I was concerned about that, went to Baylor College of Medicine in Houston and met with a geneticist. And we talked through, do you really want to know this? I'd just done it on 23andMe, and they were going to give me the real deal, which happened to be the same result as 23andMe. Anyway, I only have one. So it's elevated, but it's not as dire as it could be with two. But do you know, Christopher, the last thing this geneticist said to me as I was walking out of her door was, work as long as you can. That was a beautiful message for me. And I was in the middle of writing the book, and it was just, you need to use your brain. And that's your 10%. You need to stay curious. You need to stay motivated to keep using your brain, to keep going into uncomfortable situations. In my book, I talk about being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's another thing. A lot of the folks that have stayed at home, they aren't comfortable in a crowd any longer. And you gotta get out there. We need smart people among us.
The other question I have for you is, because the more and more people I talk to, especially of the boomer generation, and they retired or whatnot, and because of 2008 or because of COVID or because of whatever is happening now, they're like, yeah, their retirement dwindled, so they have to go back to work now. How do you help them go through this transition where it's like everything was ripped out from under them and they
The first thing I tell them is, you didn't have to leave any of those skills when you left the workforce. So you've got to go back, sit down, be thoughtful, be planful, and rewrite your resume. What did you do? Because if you've been out for 2 years, it's still very relevant. If you've been out for 10, your skills are needed, but you've got to get your confidence back. And it's doubly harmful to your confidence if you've lost your nest egg and you thought you'd never have to go back in and do work again. But there are so many fractional opportunities these days. I was just looking at, I'm going to not recall the name of it, but there are fractional COO positions. There are fractional CEOs, fractional marketing positions. And so you don't have to jump in with everything that you did in the past. And in fact, I would say don't. But because you've gotten used to a life that has more than one thing, which is work. So do something that allows you to have constant freedom, but you can still get in there and do it. And you might go into something you never knew you would love. Get your aptitudes tested. See what you've been sitting on that you never thought you could do. Maybe maybe you're suddenly an artist. Maybe you were a surgeon and now you will be a harpsist. I'm making stuff up, but use those aptitudes to give you a new lease on life from a skills perspective.
You know that feeling when someone shows up for you just when you need it most? That's what Uber is all about. Not just a ride or dinner at your door. It's how Uber helps you show up for the moments that matter. Because showing up can turn a tough day around or make a good one even better. Whatever it is, big or small, Uber is on the way. So you can be on yours. Uber, on our way.
The new McCrispy Strip is here. Dip approved by ketchup, tangy barbecue, honey mustard, Sprite, McFlurry, Big Mac sauce, double dipped in buffalo and ranch, more ranch, and creamy chili McCrispy Strip Dip. Now at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Interesting. The other question, because you were talking about earlier on, just like people just doing mundane jobs, just getting by. What about the person that is like I saw this frequently, the person that's a doctor or a lawyer because their parents told them to, and they make good money, but they're like, I hate this. How do they navigate that?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because it's hard to turn away from a career as a physician or a lawyer that you've gone through all this school and you are doing well and you've got this cachet societally. But if you're miserable, I'll go back to the 90,000 hours. Even maybe for somebody like you, it's only going to be 40. But what do you truly love to do? What does a great day at work feel like? And if you can't find a great day at work, then you're in the wrong work. And I know I'm being repetitive, but if that physician goes back and gets their aptitudes tested, they may find something totally different. You know what my aptitudes told me I should be right out of the gate when I was 15 years old? A life insurance salesperson. I was mortified. I thought that was a horrible career. But guess what? 10 years later, I was one of Mutual New York's top life insurance salespeople because it used my analytical capability. It used my order to chaos. There can be no more chaotic time in life than when someone that you cherish is dying or has gone, or you have lost something, some part of life and become disabled. I was really good at navigating those waters with people and helping them keep their precious assets called money intact so they could continue living a life. But if I had not taken and gotten my aptitudes tested, I would never have put those combinations together and come up with any type of career plan like that.
Interesting.
I'm a big believer.
Where can people find the book and connect with you and
Sure.
check it out?
Thank you for asking that, Christopher. So my name, again, is Pattie Dale Tye, and that is the name of my website, Pattie, Pattie, DALETYE.com. And there you can click on links to buy the book, or you can go to Amazon and you can find the book there. And it's called Ordinary to Extraordinary. And I hope everybody can get their extraordinary on through watching your podcast, and that you will continue to give these audiences great information.
Yeah.
We
Excellent.
need it.
I really enjoyed your passion and your enthusiasm. And for all the audience, I recommend checking out Pattie's book. It'll be in the show notes. And thanks so much for coming on, and keep up the great work.
Thank you. And I'm so delighted you're a brass scholar. That's wonderful.